Welcome to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Woody Zimmerman here with Mark Skibowski of Remax Lakes. Welcome to the show.
Come on, man. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yeah. It's here. I can't believe
Here
we are at the end of 2023 already.
Oh, my word. Next year, I'm the big 6-0, so that's
are you?
That's a milestone. Yeah.
Okay.
Next year, big 60.
Yeah. I turned the big 5-0 here a couple of years ago now, but that was a milestone.
You're still closer to 50 than 60, so you're a youngin'.
Well, yeah.
You're a youngin' in my book.
Okay, so I only had a problem leaving my 20s and then going into 30. I had an issue with that because, to me, when you're because you're still a kid in your 20s.
Tend to be, yeah.
Yeah, when you hit your 30s, you have to grow up. So I felt like I was forced to grow up. But becoming 40 or becoming 50, it's like, bring it on, no problems.
Well, all I can think back is when I was in the Air Force Reserve in 1988. When I got in and moved, I've been on active duty. On active duty, everybody's, with the exception of the higher ranks, are older, but everybody's 18, 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
I get out of active duty, joined the reserve in 88. I was out for a year and a half or so. And then I looked around and said, what are all these old guys?
Yeah, right, yeah.
And they were in their 30s.
Yeah.
Who are all these old guys? And boy, did I zoom by that. I've almost doubled it now.
Okay,
so.
but
old is
frame
of reference.
But before the show, we were talking about our morning workout regimens and so forth. So you don't look like you're going to be 60. So at least you got that going for you.
I got that going for me, besides the losing hair and gray.
Well, but you're a skier, you're a runner, you work out, so
Absolutely.
Yeah, we try.
I know. Well, hey, people are tuning in to listen about real estate, not our
workout
our stuff.
Yeah, right.
So today I thought we'd talk about, is the market good, bad for sellers? Essentially, if you've got your house listed for sale and it's not selling, what do you do? That's really the focus of this. So, and it all comes down to affordability.
Yeah.
If you're selling, it comes down to price. And then does your price and your property match what buyers are looking for?
Okay.
So, I'd like to say we're, 100% right every time we list something. But we're not, because we're using history for pricing.
Right.
So when we run comps or a CMA, comparative analysis, whatever you want to call it, comparable analysis, some people call it, we run those comps, we go back 6 months and we say, okay, what should we price your house for homes that are similar age, square footage, location, features, all of that stuff. Well, sometimes we miss it.
Well, but in your defense, though, I would have to say the market has fluctuated more in these past recent years than I've ever seen it fluctuate.
Yeah, it's definitely returning to more normal. So the agents that have been around a while, like myself, we need to go back and review what our playbook was prior to COVID.
Yeah.
What were we doing because homes have sold, for a long time. There's been sales without the level of demand that we currently have. Maybe they took a little bit longer to sell before than what they did during COVID, because things were just flying off the shelf. You put a sign in the yard, put it in the MLS, and you had 15 people looking at it very quickly. So we need to tamp those expectations down for sellers.
Okay.
And then along with that is pricing. We need to review our pricing calculations. So, and I've done it just like every other agent has done it. When you go in to do a listing appointment, here's what I think your property should sell for with a seller. Well, can we try a little bit higher? Well, yes, you can, but here's the things that can happen when you try it. It can get stale.
Yeah.
People can say, well, that's way overpriced, I'm never going to look at it. And bottom line, you have to adjust on the fly. That's the whole point with working with an agent, is we're advising you along the way. I'm not opposed to you trying to get as much as you can out of your property. When I'm a listing agent, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if I'm representing a buyer, buyers want to buy at the lowest possible price. I get that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, both parties have to agree on what that price is.
Right.
Both parties have to agree. And it's not personal. People are not trying to take advantage of you. They're trying to do what's right for them. So that's where, when we talk about a for sale by owner versus having professional representation, we're taking that emotion out of it. That's our part of the process, besides the experience and knowledge, is take the emotion out of it. It's a business decision, quite honestly, for both parties.
It is.
It is can be seen as emotional, but it's a business decision. So if your property is listed right now and you've been on the market for 60 days and you've had no showings, what do you think your problem is?
Price,
right?
Yeah.
So when your agent tells you, hey, we've been on the market 60 days and we've had no showings, there's a lot of activity, and we have a lot of data that shows us that there's a lot of activity. There's people out looking, even though this time of year tends to tamp down a little bit.
Yeah.
But the fact is, if you've been out there 60 days and you've not had an offer, you've had one showing, it is probably price, and you may need to sit down with your agent and rethink that pricing structure. Again, it comes down to your why. If you're trying to maximize and you don't have to sell and you want to sit there and wait for that one buyer that's going to be there, that's a discussion between you and your agent. And you know what I tell sellers are, hey, this is the price where we should price. I'm willing to price a little bit higher if that's what you'd like to do.
Yeah.
And I won't chase you down. But I also then don't want you in my ear every day going, why isn't my house selling? Why isn't my house selling? Why isn't my house selling?
Right.
Because if I've told you to price it 300 and I agreed to price it at 319.9 and we've had 0 showings in 60 days, I'm going to tell you, you know what? I told you so.
Yeah.
Bottom line, I told you so.
Yeah, right.
Now, I'm not going to rub it in your nose, because it's professional relationships, but I'm going to give you the facts when it comes down. There have been 4 other properties that came on that were listed at 304 that sold at 300, similar to yours. We're way out of whack.
Yeah, you're going by the data.
Yeah.
As simple as that. As simple as that.
Absolutely. And after the break, we can talk about, some other statistics, maybe a little bit of other discussions you may want to have with your agent if you've got your house listed and it has not sold yet.
Okay, you're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to Real Estate in Real Time. I'm Woody Zimmerman here with Mark Skibowski of Remax Lakes, and we're talking about if your house isn't selling, it comes down to price, and a lot of times.
There can be other factors that impact that. Condition is a big deal. Why is there 5 other houses for sale in this neighborhood?
Exactly.
Maybe there's something going on, and you as an agent need to know about that because it could impact your pricing on your property.
Right. And so I had a house that I sold, and the price probably should have been about 125, 128, somewhere in there. But I had paid off the house,
right?
And so I wasn't going to have 2 mortgages, so I listed it for $135.
Okay. Trying to do the best for you.
Exactly. And so, and you know what I sold it for? I think it was like 128 or 120. I mean, it was
right. It comes down to where it should be to begin with.
Exactly.
Typically.
Yes.
And the other thing that I talk about, folks, because we always say, well, we could find that one, and when as agents we're marketing to the middle of the bell curve, quite honestly, and a normal distribution, I'm getting all stats on you now, but a normal distribution is a bell curve. It looks like a bell, and the middle part of that bell is where the largest number of people are. The other side, the outliers on either end, the high end or the low end. So if you price your house too high, you're looking for the outliers on the high end. There's not many people that are going to price their house too low, because then it's going to sell 5 times faster than what it probably should, which in the last couple of years everything was selling quickly, so it didn't really matter. But in general, as agents, we're marketing to the middle of that. If you've got a unique property, you've got a log cabin, not everybody wants to live in a log cabin.
Right.
A specific model of home, a tri-level, a quad level. Not everybody wants all those steps. They were very popular in the 70s. There's numerous neighborhoods around here in Kosciuszko County that have some tri-levels in them. Myself, I don't want to live in one. Your floor plan is all over the place, but yet they still sell, right? People still buy them. So your condition definitely impacts what's going to happen, but ultimately, the discussion you need to have with your agent, if you've been on the market for a while and showings have gone to nothing, 9 times out of 10 it's price.
But also, if you price it too high and then you're not getting showings, so 60 days later you're like, oh, okay, maybe we need to drop the price. Well, now it's like in the MLS that the price is reduced. Now people are thinking, what's wrong with that property?
If you do major price drops, that's the other thing. That's all part of the strategy when you go to list something as far as pricing goes. Here's where we think we should sell. Maybe we price it a little bit because we don't want to go in and make a drastic $20,000 price reduction. Prior to the break, I talked about that listed at $319. We should have sold at $300. Now all of a sudden you're on the market 60 days. You do a $20,000 price drop. What's the next buyer in gonna do? They're gonna offer you $280.
Oh yeah.
$290.
Yeah.
Because you just made a massive price reduction.
And you look desperate.
And you look almost desperate.
Yeah.
So the ultimate strategy is, if you want to get it sold, price it right to begin with. Maybe a little bit extra, but price it right to begin with, because in this current market, there is still strong demand. Interest rates are coming down.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up because I read that the Feds currently have plans to drop the interest rates like 3 different times over the course of the year.
They do, and that doesn't directly correlate to what's going to happen with it. Mortgage rates, but they typically follow. Maybe not exactly the same amount at exactly the same time, but right now I get that weekly update from banks on where interest rates are today. 6 3/4 for a 30-year good buyer. And again, that's not one of those teaser rates. These are for great credit buyers.
Yeah.
Typically 20% down conventional. I saw 6 3/4. And what have I been saying pretty much all year? Once we get there, we're going to settle between 6 and 7. You're not going to see 3.5. You may occasionally see a 5 3/4, but I don't think you're going to see 5% anytime soon.
Yeah, and you always say it goes back to your why. So if you need to move now, you
Correct.
move right now.
Right.
And when rates do drop, you can always
refinance if you need to. And just understanding there's a cost related to that, right? You need to pay closing costs and all that stuff again. So, ultimately the overall market is in pretty good shape this time of year. I doubt anybody's out there looking today or tomorrow or Monday, although I can say the day after Christmas in 22, I sold a house.
Oh, did you?
I did the day after Christmas. I had clients that were looking. I had to think about where we're at today and whatever. But it was the day after Christmas. I took some folks out and showed, and they bought a house.
Wow.
Now, I'd been showing them for a while. It wasn't a one and done.
Yeah.
But, so people do look this time of year, and they're serious buyers.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So overall for sellers, the market is still good. It is still good. It is not as good as it was in the unicorn years, right? Which is a new term that I think the real estate industry is going to beat to death, and we're going to use it fairly regularly.
Yeah, for
those unicorn years are the COVID years.
Yeah.
That 20 and 21. Those were anomalies.
Yeah.
They are probably not going to happen again. So we're comparing everything pre-unicorn years. So 19 and 18 compared to today, number of showings is up, number of days on market is getting to be similar. We're in pretty good shape. It's fairly strong.
So we're looking good for 2024 then.
I think we're looking good for 2024.
All right.
Providing there's no other major changes.
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah.
I'm a politician. I'll throw that caveat in there.
All right. If you'd like to continue this conversation with Mark, your contact info?
Sure. Our website, skibowskiteam.com. Phone number is 574-527-0660. Can email me, mark@skibowskiteam.com.
All right. Very good. You've been listening to Real Estate in Real Time. Have yourself a wonderful weekend and Merry Christmas.